this meeting to order. Thanks, Gabe. Okay, so our first order of business is the reading and approval of the board minutes from April 4th.
Yes, I don't have the minutes. My Windows, my Word program isn't working. So
Okay.
next month.
Let's table it till the next meeting then. And Russell sent his treasurer's reports. Did everyone glance at them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Seconded.
Dan. All right. Dan motioned and somebody seconded.
Gabe seconded.
Gabe seconded. All in favor of approving both the March and the April minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
You mean treasury reports?
Yeah, treasurer
Yeah.
reports. Did I say something else? I'm sorry.
You said minutes.
Treasurer reports. To John from Tacoma. Do you have a vote?
I'm good with it.
Hey, Jen, who's taking minutes?
I
I'm
thought
taking
John
minutes.
was.
Oh, thanks, John.
I'm on vacation, but I'm taking minutes. I'm sitting
Thank
here
you.
by. The funny thing is, I'm down here in San Diego, and it's like 65, and you guys have a heat streak. So disappointing.
A heat streak.
You're in San Diego. Wow. That's
Nice.
dedication, John. Showing up to a Zoom meeting when you're in San Diego. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that for sure.
That is awesome. Okay, so motion passes unanimously. And Gabe, media and social website and social media updates.
All right. So I think I'm just guessing why we are up 24% in some of our page views and sessions is because of the signs that we've had up over the last month. Those were increased for the in-person meeting last month, and we're up 17% on sessions, which means the time people spend beyond just coming in, looking at something, and then just leaving means they've looked at a few more things than normal. And then page views are up 24%, which means people are browsing the website a little bit more.
Cool.
So that's a good thing. So engagement's up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as our Facebook, the membership there is up marginally. We're only about 10, 12 up this month. But conversations is pretty much going along with what you expect to see on Facebook group, and you're hoping. And so we went from a baseline of like 1,852 members to 1,860 something, 55. We've had to block a lot of spammers. There's not much we can do about that otherwise. And then engagement for our website is it's a little bit up from a month ago, so not crazy, but we're still got 1,400 out of the 1,800 we have, 18 plus active. So that's really good engagement for our community on the Facebook page. Yeah, and that's all I have. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. Should we speak to the fact that we decided to close down the chats because those were getting annoying?
Yeah, I think keeping targeted, very specific chats for then closing them, I think that's a good idea, Megan, that you had for us.
Yeah. So what we had talked about was that we would open them up, like when we're going to do in-person meetings, we would open them up for that, and then we would shut them down directly afterwards. So there wasn't a bunch of chatter that just continued to happen kind of unfettered within the Facebook groups. So.
Okay, so you open and chat, or you open and close the chats according to when meetings are happening, or?
Yeah, so I think that moving forward, we could talk about this, is that, when we have in-person meetings, when we're trying to actually, get people to show up, we will do an event, we'll get people invited like we did for the, annual meeting and that sort of thing. And there is a chat feature within Facebook on the event that people can use, and it draws attention to the event, which is great. But the problem is it lives in perpetuity, with when the event is out, even when the event is over. And so what we were finding was there's just a lot of useless chatter in there that isn't necessary. And stuff that, should be brought onto the maybe even to the regular page, or just not said at all. So that we were gonna open it up with the meeting invite when those happen, and then close it down right after the event, so that just so that we don't have to monitor those and mess with them long term.
Yeah, I do think that they helped get attention for the meeting. A lot of people did actually say they were considering coming through that. And then after the meeting, we just got random posts and TikTok videos. So we figured it's not a good idea. We had to delete them, and then people are going, "What are you deleting?" And they got paranoid that we're deleting stuff. And now we're like not free speech people anymore. And like,
that's
okay.
Right.
Everyone got paranoid what we were deleting because they didn't get to see what we deleted. And so we,
Angela and Gabe are the Gestapo, let me tell you.
Hey, I mean, I have been accused of censoring before, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to censor violence, horrible language, trolling, spam. Yes, I'm sorry. That stuff is not appropriate for our community group. It is not appropriate for Facebook. No one wants to see it. It gets deleted. I'm sorry. And you get to look back at the rules. And I always tell people, it violates the rules that you signed and that you agreed to when you joined the group. I'm sorry. And oh, well, but I want to see what all those comments are. No, actually, no, you don't.
Hey, Larry, we're missing you online.
There's a real prevalence of trolling.
Oh
People
gosh,
want to do it for kind of an activity of pleasure. I don't know what it is.
May I interrupt, team?
Yes.
Larry's on the phone saying he's trying to log in, and the website keeps telling him the host has another meeting in progress. So what could be happening?
he needs to be clicking on the current link, not the old link. I sent an email today.
Yes, that's what Gabe just said. He sent out a new link in the email today. So would you try that one and see if you can get on that way, and call me back if you can't? All right. See you hopefully in a moment. Okay. Bye, Larry. Thank you. That was a quick pause, everyone. Good job. Okay, I'm in PE teacher mode. It was a good job, everyone. Yay! Oh my gosh, terrible. Sorry, I apologize.
Let's keep it high energy. I like it.
For now and every other time I do it.
Great. That's great.
Okay, so hopefully, yeah, I like it. What you were all saying about monitoring people. It needs to be done, and you're good at it.
Well, and I guess the question is too, is like, I'm assuming I don't know how we want to do this in the future moving forward, but if we want to keep the event invites to just our in-person meetings, does that sound correct to everybody? Like, we don't want to put those out when we're just doing a Zoom meeting.
Or maybe so. Also the cleanup efforts too, or if there's a big event that we decide to plan, like a Orange Gate Park cleanup, if we ever do that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
something
In-person
that's a big deal.
stuff. Yeah. Okay. So like in-person stuff is what we're talking. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to kind of wrap my head around what the parameters were as far as like when we want to advertise these meetings, because we didn't advertise this one, obviously.
Yeah. We can name the chats too, so that we actually know what their purpose is too. So the last two were just Summit Waller Community Association, then the other one was just a 1 in parentheses after it. So that's a little confusion there.
Yes. Okay, cool. Well,
yeah.
I think opening them and closing them will help too, because then it won't just, like I said, then there won't be a spamming of them. They'll just be whatever's open, and otherwise it won't be anything.
Yeah. Good points.
Okay.
So Mark has resigned.
Yes, announcements. Mark has resigned. He sent a really nice note, and he just felt that he couldn't engage with us as much as he wanted at this point in his life, and he felt that it would be nice of him to offer up his seat to maybe somebody who could engage a lot more. And so he sent a really nice letter saying that. And so, yes, he's resigned. And
too bad.
Yeah.
So now we have a total of 2 alternates that are vacant. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. What we could do is do another round of announcements for that vacancy on our Facebook page and maybe on our website. I can make a note to myself to do that, since I think I did the last one, and I will do that again.
All right.
Is there some kind of, I mean, I didn't see what you did last time, Angela, but is there some kind of ask? Are you asking them to go someplace? Are you asking them to do something? Like, what are you saying when you put that out?
Let me find it.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's just normally helpful if there's like a call to action of some sort.
It'd be nice if we could get some people down in the underserved areas. So there's a group of us that are kind of in a broad middle area, down Waller, Don's on Canyon. Megan and Gabe are both in the Lidford area. Larry's by the park. Angela and Russell are both by the Central Avenue School. Dan and I are in Waller, but there's some more kind of the woodland, maybe the Puyallup woodland area is kind of underrepresented, and maybe down the backside of Pioneer or Lower Waller is sort of underrepresented. Maybe.
Well, Woodland is the boundary line, of course, to the rural separator.
Yeah.
And I think Pioneer Way is also, if I'm not mistaken, the boundary line of rural separator.
Right. This kind of in that just
I can hear from my if you get a chance to get my jacket, that would be nice.
east of Gabe and Megan heading down in that direction toward Canyon. That area is kind of underserved too.
Yeah, now it is.
We can't really we get who we get. I'm just saying it would be nice if there's some way of kind of trying to woo some people from those areas.
Well, and that's one of the things, when we put out the ask, we can, we could drum it up as like, do you live in this area? Would you be interested in serving, that sort of thing, open to all, but, looking for representation from these communities, if possible. I think that's a good way to do it, because people might not even think about, they might not even think about it, but if they see that, they may be like, oh, I live in that, I live in that area. Why would I? Okay.
Here's
I started reading.
That's okay. Here's what we posted last time in the Facebook group of just seeking an additional alternate member. That would be revised to 2 alternate members. And then I just put a little bit about who we are, what's the commitment, so people know what they're getting into, and then where could they find more information. And then I offered myself as a point of contact if people had any questions. So
okay,
perfect.
I also just changed the website too to reflect it. So
perfect.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep. So that's what we did last time, and I can just kind of copy and repaste that one if that works for people. And I need to figure out how to stop sharing now. There it is. Thank you.
Okay. So next meeting, I'm kind of just making an assumption that most of us don't want to meet on the 4th of July.
I think that's a good assumption.
A good assumption.
I try to assume good. So when do we want to meet?
and we do the following week.
That works for me. Does it work for everyone else?
We're talking about the 11th, the night evening of the 11th. I could do that.
Don?
July 11th.
Good. I'm okay.
Larry's good.
I'm here.
Dan?
I'm good too.
Larry, you're muted.
Larry said he was good.
Dan gave a thumbs up.
Oh, Dan gave a thumbs up. John?
Yeah, I was good. Got it.
Okay. All right. I will also write Benny a note and just double check, and then I'll confirm with you all.
That's in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Dan, isn't the second Tuesday of the month set aside at the community, Mid-County Community Center for work with the Mid-County Land Use Advisory Commission?
I got a notice today on the email that the one they did have scheduled was canceled. They've become very infrequent. So I can't address your question, Larry.
Okay.
All I do is if there's an email that comes in a meeting, That's when I respond.
Yeah, Jen, if you talk with Bunny, she may say that Tuesday is set aside for possible land use commission meetings.
Oh, good point, yeah.
Okay. Do we have an alternative day if it is set aside? Either the 6th maybe or the 13th. No, I can't do the 6th, but Angela could maybe. Or the 13th. Although I'd like to be there for the July meeting actually.
Yeah, if we're in person and we want to start that land acknowledgement discussion, I think it'd be good to have it in person. And if we could have all of us there.
I just
Um,
realized I'm going to be on vacation that week. That week I'm going to be on vacation. The week of we're gone the 10th through the 16th. Sorry, I mean not that I have to be there. I'm just
Yeah.
Well, that moves us to the 18th, possibly.
and you guys said July 5th didn't work. Number 5.
We didn't check July 5th. It works for me.
It might also be the community centers options. Might be better to contact them than we just email confirm.
that's true.
Do you want to do that, Jen? Check with
Yes.
Bunny first and then give us an option and we can, or give us some options, I guess I should say.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some meeting options. Well, this is going to be double fun because
It's hard. Summer's always hard. Like I always feel June, July, and August is the black hole of meetings availability. It's practically impossible.
I stop all education in my job. Like I don't do any education in July and August for this reason specifically, because it's like no one's gonna come. It's not worth putting it together. Like I get July and August off. I don't really get them off, but we definitely
Okay.
stop our education at that point.
okay, let's go to area updates. Larry, do you want to talk about Orange Gate? You said you did earlier, so I'm assuming it's a yes.
Can we back
Yeah,
up? Are we
still
talking
watching.
about t-shirts or no?
Oh, t-shirts. We
Yeah,
skipped t-shirts. I just wrote let's try again on this. That's it. I mean, yes, we'd
Yeah.
already That's
Can you
kind of a note.
can you remind me which printer you used for the newsletters, and I can call them and see if they do t-shirts.
Parkland Quick Print.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because I already have a design thanks to the last place that never fulfilled our order. So I can hopefully just send that over and
Are you asking if Parkland Quick Prints does t-shirts?
yeah.
I'm there all the time. I don't think they do.
Yeah, they might have an outside vendor that does it for them though.
Possibly.
Yeah, they might.
I'll
I'll
have print
check.
shops too. I also will have, I'll send you contact information for another one in Federal Way. I mean, ideally, we want to try to stay as local as we can, right?
Yeah. 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 I have a couple of other options to go with too. We recently used Minuteman Press for a fundraiser that I volunteer for, but I'll happy to call around for some different quotes and that sort of thing. So
All right. Larry.
Okay. Yeah, the last month's been kind of a challenge, but I was able to get out there first a little bit.
You did a lot. You did
tested-
9 hours and you had COVID for a week. That's pretty
I had
good, Larry.
I had COVID for 18 days and it was not a mild case.
Oh,
So I had to cancel a bunch of my cardiac rehab sessions. Lost more weight again. But anyway, I'm doing okay. Fly out to Florida tomorrow. So for a cruise. And I got an email from Kylie Ashley from the Parks Department, and she said, we will no longer accept any of your volunteer hours unless you officially become either an individual steward or a group steward. And I have told them before, I am not interested in all the paperwork and restrictions that they have to be an individual steward. And I don't think the community association has indicated in the past that they are not interested in being a group, filling out the paperwork and everything to be a group steward. So as of right now, I will no longer be sending volunteer hours out. And the Summit Waller Community Association is, as of today, no longer officially affiliated with Orange Gate Park. Although I will still go out and pick up garbage whenever I want to and do some other things, but that's it. There's going to be no official connection between Summit Waller Community Association
Larry,
and the parks.
would you like us to talk about? I mean, you said in the past we have kind of not gone that direction. That's true, because if we had, we'd have the paperwork and have it done. But did you want us? Is that something you would like for us to do as a group?
That's up to the group. I just would like to tell you that I've reached a point in my life where I just don't have the energy or the time or the interest to put together cleanups, organize cleanups, fill out all the paperwork. I just don't have it anymore. So that would be up to the rest of you. That would mean that if you're going to have a group stewardship, then more people on the board and in the membership would have to actively be more involved, and you'd have to find a coordinator for activities other than myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about these neighbors that are working a lot on this stuff a lot, like Scott Bird or Hugh Kyle? Do you think they might be interested in? I mean, we have two alternative board member positions open, and if one of them wants to take on the stewardship part of the parks, no.
And here's why.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hugh Kyle is in his mid-80s. He only goes out and picks up garbage when his wife is sleeping after chemotherapy session. A nice guy. He wants to have some exercise, but no, he's not a candidate to either be a board member or be any kind of a coordinator for anything. Scott Bird is one of the horse.
Okay.
Scott Bird is one of the horse riders from High Point Equestrian. I've asked him to organize that group. I've heard nothing back. They are totally against the Orange Gate Park plan. He has no interest. He's not, let's say, he doesn't particularly care for the Summit Waller Community Association because we support the park plan. And, but he will tell me that he's done a few hours of volunteer work, which I will email him and tell him, don't bother sending me your hours anymore. But he's not a candidate to be on our board or be any kind of a coordinator. So other than that, I don't know. I've asked around. Nobody seems to be interested.
I have a comment on this. First of all, Larry, thank you for all the work you've done over the years. Going back 30 years. Larry planted trees over there that were up to your waist. Now they're 40 feet tall. So he's been involved with that for a long time. I think what's going to happen out there, if Larry's not going to be taking care of that place, it's going to fall into a state of disrepair. It's going to get full of garbage. The community is going to see it. And eventually somebody's going to step forward and say, hey, we got to do something about this garbage. And that's, you know, nobody wants to clean a park that is already taken care of by Larry. But once it gets into a state of repair and the garbage starts mounting up, you're going to find people coming out and wanting to do something. I promise you.
Hey, my comment on what Dan just said, you know, I'm going to continue to do some activities like picking up litter and all that. There's a male on male sex issue that has to be resolved here pretty soon. But there are other people out there. You know, I come in contact with other people all the time and encourage them to pick up litter as they use the park. And quite frequently I find where people have picked up litter and put it by that double arrow sign at the intersection of 84th and 46th. So there are other people out there picking up some of the litter. And the Parks Department does a pretty good job of keeping 84th fairly clean. I've asked neighbors around to help with 50th and 50th Avenue and 46th Avenue. I would point out that the Parks Department has plans to develop the park. Pipeline Trail is going through within starting this summer and probably finishing up in the fall. Of course, they're going to be building a big trailhead in Orange Gate Park. And then in 2024, they're going to be starting to develop much of the North 40. So, and of course, because we have the no parking signs at night, I've had people complain about people parking along 84th during the day. And I said, well, they have every right to park there, but they can't park there at night. And if we didn't have those signs, we would have people park around Orange Gate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that would be a huge problem for our community. So it's not all bad. Even though, let's say, we're not officially connected with Pierce County Parks and Recreation with a stewardship, there's still going to be a few things done. And the Parks Department's in the process of developing Pipeline Trail and various things in Orange Gate Park.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Since I am not a mind reader, is there anyone here that is interested in taking up that sort of Orange Gate Park mantle and wanting to enter a stewardship agreement at this moment? Or should we table this until we have maybe some other interest from the community or a new board member who is interested?
Table.
Okay, Dan's table.
Yeah.
I agree.
Don
Yeah.
agrees.
I think, yeah, I mean, I agree too. Like, I don't have the time to do it. Like, but that doesn't mean that I could not recruit someone to find the time to do it, right? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm trying to think through like the people in my community to see if there's anybody I can think, someone who might fit some criteria that Larry is ruling people out for. So maybe somebody on the younger side of things, that has the free time to go out and do it, and maybe is a good organizer. So I don't know. I think that there's some possibilities. There's already some people kind of popping up in my mind, but I say, yeah, let's table it and see if we can find some interest. Because I think relinquishing a relationship altogether doesn't sound good to me. Like, I don't like the way that sounds, to just say like we're no longer going to be associated with. I think that it would be good to find somebody to take up the mantle in Larry's stead.
Yeah. Angela?
I agree.
John? Oh, John?
Well, I don't think we want to do it as a group. I think kind of the way Larry has been involved, I think the best chance to get somebody who lives in proximity of the park as Larry does.
Absolutely.
It would be nice if there's an individual steward who is a member of the Summit Waller Community Association. That's where, like, I would have my name as the organizer, but I'd have the group underneath as a Summit Waller Community Association. So whenever I sent my hours in, there was a connection between Summit Waller Community Association and Pierce County Parks and Rec. And of course, we have gotten 2 or 3 awards from the Pierce County Parks for our involvement as the Summit Waller Community Association over the years with Orange Gate Park. And quite frankly, we were the ones that basically created it. So I'll continue to do a few things, but I'm not in my 30s, 40s, and 50s anymore. Don, you're like 80 years old, right?
Plus,
80
Yeah.
plus.
60s.
I'm almost
He's still young.
75, and right behind me. So, you know, we don't have as much energy, and we have more little physical ailments that cause us to not be as active as we used to be. So we need somebody younger to who's got more energy and enthusiasm to say,
Okay.
okay, I'll be the individual steward.
Well,
Well,
I like, I
I,
like, oh, go ahead, Dawn. Yeah, sorry.
my park is Bradley Lake Park. It has been for a number of years. I grew up playing on that one, so my allegiance, even though I live over here, is Pearl and I patrol all the trails just about every day, every week. So I'm not interested in Orange Gate Park. I think it's being mismanaged. I don't think their projected schedules are continue to fall behind, and I think they will continue to fall behind. So I have not much. I don't have any interest in participating in anything of Orange Gate. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gabe
I know.
isn't giving his 2 cents. Sorry. I
No,
want
I
to make
definitely
sure.
think we should stay somewhat involved somehow. But I just like some of you, I don't have the time to do it. I mean, my visits there are very sporadic, and the minimum requirements are 18 years or older and a commitment of annual 25 hours, at least 25 hours a year for volunteer work there. I don't know if I'm going to be there that often per year. Some years I'm there a lot, some years I'm not, but it's, yeah, it all depends on just my schedule, and I can't dedicate time to do it myself.
Okay, so I'd like to move our meeting along since we've all had our say, and our basic agreement is we want to see if someone can come along and take it up. We don't know who that person is. Bacon's mind is ticking. I have an idea or two. We'll see what happens in the future. We want to honor all the things that Larry has done, and I hope you still keep giving us your volunteer hours just for the matter of the record. And we'll see what we can do in the future to make a stewardship agreement happen, or if we can, somebody will take the mantle on of doing this and we can support them. But individually, nobody on this board has it in them to do it at this moment in time. So we're not totally giving up. We're just tabling it for now. Are we all in agreement on that then?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing.
Yep.
Dawn, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Larry.
Okay.
I know that's hard for you too, because
Yeah, you know, you
your
just reach a
baby.
point where you can only do so much anymore.
Yeah. All right, Angela, Pierce County Comprehensive Plan.
So I actually don't have any updates for the comprehensive plan, but I do have some updates for the Parkland Incorporation study.
And I am sorry, I meant to put a G on there, and
That's okay.
And I forgot it.
Well,
Okay, so
G will become B, and we can talk
Sure.
about
let's do that.
Okay. The website is on the Department of Commerce website. It now says it's the Informational Incorporation study for Parkland, Spanaway, Midland, and Frederickson. They keep changing it based on feedback. But anyway, Gabe and I both went to a public, what it was called the final open information session, where the Department of Commerce and their consultant team shared the results of the draft incorporation study. Now, it was a PowerPoint presentation. You don't actually get to see the report until it's published and finalized. But it was just hey, here's where we are. So I took a couple of notes that I thought were worth sharing. The PowerPoint presentation that they gave us is online on the website, and I will copy that and I will put it into the chat for those that would like to access it. Long story short, I mean, Gabe can fill in some of the gaps as well, but they assumed a level of service similar to some comparable cities, and Kent, Washington was one of them. Now, none of us see any similarities in Kent into this future incorporation area, but that's what they came up with in terms of population growth and revenue and expenses review and that sort of thing. Oh, sorry, they used Lakewood and Kent. Sorry, Lakewood and Kent both. They assumed a kind of a growth of a range of population growth and some different scenarios. They looked at, in terms of services, they looked at what would be required and what might be limited, and then what the city would choose to have. In terms of revenues, they looked at a variety of different things, property tax, sales tax, utility taxes, gambling taxes, shared state revenues, other revenues, that would require voter approval, and special revenue funds are some of the things that they looked at. Then in terms of some of the costs that this future city would have, they looked at safety, planning and public works, community and economic development, courts, council, maintenance and operations, legal, parks and recreation, all the the costs that would come with maintaining and providing services for the residents in this city. One of the big questions was how much. Everyone in the room kept saying, how much are my taxes going to go up? That was the big question. And of course, it's hard to answer at this point in time. But some people in the room did some quick back of the napkin math, and property taxes could go up as much as 60 to 70%. And so there were people that were really flipped their lid when they heard that. So there were a lot of people there that, and actually it was a great turnout, I thought, considering the Department of Commerce did very little advertisement that this was happening. I think there was probably 40 or 50 people there, which still is pretty small in comparison to the geographic area that they're looking at. But most people were pretty darn upset, but definitely appreciative of the Department of Commerce coming out there and at least telling us about it. I will say that Councilman Marty Campbell was there, and Councilwoman Amy Kruver was there, and Councilwoman Janie Hitchen was there from Parkland Spanaway District. So that was good for them to have some representation there and hear what the constituents' concerns were and provide some feedback on the Department of Commerce's methodologies. So most recently, the Department of Commerce went before the county, I think it might have been the Economic and Infrastructure Development Committee. And they went back in May and gave a presentation that was very similar to the one that they gave us in that room. And then it's expected to be submitted to the legislature, the final report, on June 1. Or was on June 1, but I don't see it on their website yet. So it's obviously still floating around the halls of legislature at the state level somewhere. So,
Angela.
Yes, sir.
Why did they change the name to the Informational?
It's funny because, because so many people were so upset about, this being kind of foisted on them and forced on them, and it's been tried before and it's been turned down, and we don't want this, we didn't ask for it. And Representative Melanie
Morgan.
Thank you. Yes, she was actually there for a few minutes, and she jumped up and she said, it's informational, it's not intended to do anything, there's no decisions being made, there's nothing going forward as a vote, blah 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 blah, it's informational. And so lo and behold, the next time I checked the website, it said informational. So that's why they changed it to informational. It's only to provide information.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. So the state is paying $200,000 for a study that Joe Schmo that lives in Parkland can now say, thank you, State Department of Commerce. I'm going to take that study and I'm going to file for incorporation. and it'll be that easy.
Angela, what's your best sense in where this is going?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. I think if the legislature, I don't even know what the process is. They're just going to do this study, and then the state legislature accepts it, approves it, says thank you for completing this, checks the box. I don't know what that looks like at the state legislature level. That hasn't been communicated to us. It was just, oh, well, it'll be done in June, and then you guys can see it, and it's just going to be out there for people to use. So go ahead, Gabe. I didn't see your hand up. Sorry, I was so
Oh no, I
too busy
just put it
talking.
up.
Yeah.
So just to back up a little bit, the assumptions that were part of the assumptions that were taken, Kent and Lakewood were used primarily because they have the median income similar to the area that's being looked at right now. And based on that and the services and amenities that those cities have, those are kind of the rough numbers that are comparable to the Parkland, Spanaway area, and that's why those numbers were used. The whole thing was just, here's how we came up with the numbers, here's what the information came from, using these type of assumptions based on other things so we can model off of those. That's really all it was. This was truly just information, but because the way that they kind of seemed like they were hiding it, it seemed like it was more nefarious. And we can't really judge the people that put forth the study to try to get it done. We don't know what their intentions were, but I think Angela hit it on the head with, hopefully somebody takes a look at this and goes, oh, we can do it, and we're going to make a city out of Parkland Spanaway. And it has to be residents of it. It could take one person just to get it going if they have the money to actually go through the legal process to do it. But when it comes down to it, I can't say people are in favor of or not, because the people that showed up at the last meeting were the ones that are just, most of them just were very upset that this was happening and seemed like it was being pushed down their throat.
The other concern too is that it includes Midland, Parkland, Brookdale, Frederickson, kind of the Canyon Road corridor all the way to the edge of the rural separator, or what kind of woodland-ish, except it does not include the rural separator, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, yay, it doesn't include separators, so everyone thinks, okay, Summit Waller can just go away because it's not affected, but it does affect the rural separator. When you completely enclose all around the rural separator and it becomes this little island of rural separator, I think that has some really, significant consequences or effects that people aren't really thinking about, that we shouldn't be forgetting about. Megan, you've got your hand up.
I think there would be a lot of pressure. It looks like it's, this city is going to surround the rural separator south of 112th, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on it. There's going to be people wanting, to do away with the rural separator. Once you do that, either piece by piece or in its entirety, then they're going to go after the rural separator north of 512.
I think
frog in a pot. Slowly.
Definitely.
And I guess that's kind of what, my question was around, just being really new to this, all just thinking through, what's the downside, but you guys are kind of answering that. So that was really my question. Not what's the downside, but just what are the implications? And, for us as a community, I hear what you're saying. It's if everybody around us is incorporated, well, you might as well just go ahead and incorporate Summit Waller, I get that that's what we don't want to happen. So
I would disagree a little bit. I think that as this area out here becomes more rural developed, it requires a vote of the people in this area. I don't think they would vote for it, number one. Number two, the area out here, if you read the Tom Ballard report, is not really suitable for urban development, number two. And number three, by analogy, Central Park is surrounded by New York City. Not that we're a park, but there are many communities across the country, anywhere, that are called green belt communities that are surrounded by, you know, higher density areas. This is to have a mega metropolitan area from Tacoma all the way out to South Hill and from Fife to Graham to be a big city. That really detracts from your living conditions. To have an area in between, which includes the agricultural lands just below our area in the Puyallup Valley and the rural separator. I think people value that. I just don't see people rushing out and voting to incorporate in this area here. So we need to keep
agree
an
with you
eye.
now. I agree with you now. I totally agree with that now. But once you have people living and putting pressure in the denser housing areas surrounding a non-density area, you're going to get pressure from people moving into those areas because it's bigger properties, and that's going to change the demographic of who lives here slowly over time. Okay, the frog being turned up in a pot of water doesn't realize he's boiling after a while, because he doesn't realize it's happening. So the idea is just try to fight against that entirely, so you don't let that in. As a peninsula of an undeveloped area, I think we have a better fight. So we're peninsula going all the way down into Graham versus just an island.
Yeah, no, I would agree with what you're saying, Gabe. It'd be easier to defend a peninsula than an island. I would agree to that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I do think there's, I mean, from what I've seen on social media and talking to others that live in the general area, especially Midland, there are a lot of people that they want sidewalks, they want street lighting, they want ADA accessible ramps, you know, they want a lot of city amenities. And I'm like, yeah, you get those in the city. You don't get those in the rural separator.
Well, also,
and it comes with a cost, you know, it doesn't come for free.
Putting rural separator aside, I don't think that the people south of us in, you know, Parkland, Midland, Spanaway, I don't foresee them voting to incorporate. And certainly if they do, I would suggest that we try to educate them otherwise. Anyway, let's see what happens.
I don't know. I would think maybe Parkland, Spanaway, Frederickson might want to be a city. I just think if they incorporate to be one, that they shouldn't include us because there's a big population difference.
Frederickson, the people out there, I can tell you, they don't want it.
No?
Right now, no,
I know a few people out there.
But Spanaway, Parkland might. I can
As
see
people
them
flee
wanting
to
it.
buy up the properties down there, that demographic's going to change too. Yeah.
They're tired of being Tacoma's stepchild, you know?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what I've got for Parkland the Informational Incorporation Study.
Thank you, Angela.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. What else on this list of B, C, D, E? Marty says he knew he couldn't make this meeting. He says that any questions or anything that comes up, and I already wrote him about E. Like we'd like to have an update on that next meeting. Anybody else have anything on C or D? And John has F.
Yeah, I've got Canyon Road Regional Connection Project. I do have an update for that.
Okay.
That project is, quote, pausing their design and environmental assessment for the river crossing segment of the project. So the new bridge that would go over the Puyallup River, because they need to update and redo some of their flood modeling. Long story short, I'll keep it short and sweet. They made some assumptions using some older data, and they are now having to go back and use newer data and rerun those models. So until that gets done, then they'll come back and pick up the design and environmental review, and that'll probably happen, I think it's next year. I put a link in the chat to the Canyon Road Regional Connection website, so you can see that announcement for yourself. They have a colorful one-page flyer that generally describes what they're going to be working on over the next year or so. So that's what's happening with Canyon Road. The river crossing section.
River crossing
Thank
section.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, Jen, do you have
Yeah.
any information on the Swan Creek Park issue? Did Marty say anything?
Not yet, but I did write him an email back thanking him for letting us know that he wouldn't be here tonight. And he had responded that he will talk about anything we ask him to during the next meeting. So
Good.
assuming he can come. And I put that in the email. I said specifically that. I'm sure there might be other things that I add to it, but I also said he hinted a couple months ago that Waller Road was one of the major council agreements when the council went to camp or something. I don't know. They had some sort of retreat and they talked about what their major concerns that they were going to deal with in the next year. And they said he told us in a meeting that Waller Road was one of those, but he has not elaborated on anything yet. So I asked for an update on that.
Question: When was this council retreat? When was that?
I don't know. It was, what was it? When was that meeting? I'd have to go back in my notes.
Is that before or after they actually made the proposal? Probably after, I assume.
I want to say that it was new this year. That it was so it must have happened like December, January.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back and look, Dan.
Well,
I'm just
we
not gonna do it right this second.
we wrote a two-page letter
Yes.
to Metro Parks and Pierce County. And I've talked to Pierce County Parks, and they seem to kind of take the position that it's not a real hot issue for them. Did you folks all get a copy of that letter, by the way? Did you folks get a copy of the letter?
Anyone else get a copy of the letter?
Okay, I'm going to send out another copy of that letter to you
Okay.
folks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Are we done with section 4?
Yes.
Oh, do you want to
How about
adopt the road
adopt the
update?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Mm.
John, how did it go?
It went fair. We got about 2/3 done. That's all we got. So some of the volunteers were okay. But a lot of them didn't want to do the bigger sections that some of us have done in the past. And I'd give them a section and they come back and say they only got half done. And so I was maybe overworking some people in the past. I don't know. But yeah, we only got 2/3 done. And so that's all we could get done.
Okay.
Thank you for your work, John.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
2/3
Yeah,
is better than
thanks,
nothing. So thank you,
Yeah.
John.
That's right.
Yeah. And thank you, Sue, for, stepping
Yeah,
up at the annual meeting and
Yeah.
trying to engage the community and helping out.
Yeah, she did a good job, I guess. So great.
She
Yeah,
just
she
is
always
always
does a great job.
entertaining.
She does. Okay. Current business, our annual meeting review. What did we think about the new format of having instead of having a whole bunch of speakers, having stations with table stations off to the side where people could go and chat informally with like the Mid-County communities, with Bunny at the Mid-County Community Center, with the people at Pierce County. We were supposed to have the Grange, but that fell through. Anyway, how did we like that? And what can we improve on? What do we want to do differently next year? Did we learn anything? I forgot my question mark on the agenda about that. Okay. There you go.
I like the new format. I echo Gabe's 2 thumbs up. I thought having fewer presenters and giving them a little bit longer time to do that was good. Just kind of focused on a couple key things to keep things moving along. I really liked the tables, and people could come a few minutes early and chat, and then they could stay a few minutes late and chat if they wanted to, instead of having the meeting go longer with lots of hand raising and lots of questions. So I thought the format was good. I like it, and I think we should do it again next year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's an opportunity to have more people come at table too. I think that that's something that we could explore, looking at what organizations we'd like to have represented. I will pre-volunteer to organize some of that if you would like me to.
Yeah.
Can I ask Megan a question?
Sure.
How's the Grange doing in a nutshell?
Grange is the Grange, we're doing real good right now, to be perfectly honest. We have taken on, there's a new life to it currently. So I'm actually this is really funny, guys, but I'm going to the state convention as a delegate from the
Woohoo.
Grange.
Nice.
But I am
Okay.
so not Grangey
Wow.
at all. But I'm not a Granger, like I no. But there's a lot of things. I have a lot of opinions because that's who I am. And I think I think that the National Grange is there's a movement that they've got to evolve or die, and the state Grange is pushing back on that. There's a lot of people within Washington that don't want to do that. But thankfully, Waller Road Grange is one of the Granges that have decided that they were going to adopt some more inclusive practices and figure out ways to do things more inclusively. So all that to say that I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think that there's growth, and we're looking to just do more, just do more at this point. Like that's what we're looking for. So.
And I love the
Yeah.
fact that you guys are doing events that are open to the community. You're
Yeah.
doing the barbecue, you're doing a canning
Yeah.
class, you're doing dances, you're doing
Yeah.
auctions and
I don't know,
and
Gabe.
spaghetti feeds and stuff. I mean, I think that, I mean, I haven't been to any of them personally, but I think the fact that
We
you're
still call it the cult. We still call it the cult.
I was so
Don't worry.
shocked. I was so shocked when I went to that meeting. I was just like, my eyes felt like they were gonna pop out of my head.
Yeah, that was very calm, Jen. I'll just let you know. Like I've been to like way more like serious. Like we're pretty jokey about all of the like pomp and circumstance compared to
my
other
goodness.
Granges. Other Granges
never
are super
seen-
serious about all that stuff. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen anything like it. All I can think is it's back to the roots of the early 19th century. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a comment on this. I've been to the Grange before. I've seen all that going on. Before Megan came on the scene, I would have bet that the Waller Road Grange was going to go extinct. No doubt about it in my mind whatsoever. And
I don't know that I personally like resurrected it, but I think there are a few key people that
I
have
think
helped.
a car engine only runs because of a spark plug.
Yeah.
And I think you were the spark plug to that Grange. I've never really agreed with the Grange over the years, some of the positions they've taken. This is 30, 40 years ago. But I think that they could, if they get rid of their little cult thing going on there and become a little more mainstream and not so shockingly bizarre, if I may say, they could develop into a community asset. And if we could somehow have a little bit of coordination with them, not like this, but kind of maybe a little bit of coordination. You being on this board and being with the Grange is a great example of that. But anyway, that's all I've got about the Waller Road Grange.
Yeah, and we're doing 4th of July barbecue on the 1st. So just in case everybody hasn't seen the massive amount of communicating I've been doing about it, there is a 4th of July community barbecue coming up that we're doing that's going to be open to the whole community, and we're inviting the whole school and all that kind of stuff. So that the Grange is very interested in connecting to the community. There are a lot of people within the Grange that want to see things calm down and not be as strange. And the problem is that the respect for the people who have been around for, years and years and years that are still interested in doing these things until that generation graduates to whatever the next life is. I don't think that I think that there's gonna be some level of that. And but I do agree that, I mean, the first time I went, I was like, this is nuts. Like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. I mean, like I said, I feel like it's a good avenue. Yeah, aging out. Thank you. But I just think that I think there's a lot of things that can change. I think that it's a slow process. I think that a lot of people see the need for it, and I would like to see it be way more inclusive. Because I think I don't know if everybody on the board knows, but my husband's African American, and I think my husband walking into that room, he would be so uncomfortable and it would be so weird. And that's we don't want no community organization should be that. It needs to be more inclusive, and that's kind of my voice in the whole thing. So we'll see what I get done when I
Yeah.
go to Moses Lake.
There's a big
You all-
push
you
to get
all
new
know
members
that-
and younger members, and I think that's really helped.
Mhm.
And you all
the
know
problem
that
is-
Larry and I are people of faith, but I have to say that even just the prayer part of it, I was going, oh my, that's not going to be really inclusive of many other people. And I was really
Right.
surprised that they even did it.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah, and they
traditional.
open a Bible, like a Bible
Yeah.
is part of the ceremony. And that's, my thing is like, what about people that don't, their faith doesn't
Exactly.
include the Bible? Like, how are we, anyway, this is a whole
Exactly.
huge discussion, but I'm definitely willing to liaise, Dan, whatever we want that to look like between us and the Grange. I would say the Grange is willing at this point. There are a lot of, there's a lot of young blood that are very excited about what we can do for the community, and we want to keep the Grange alive because what it is.
Yeah.
So I will say this, like, just, like why I think that it will survive, even if it doesn't evolve as quickly as I think it needs to, is, the hall is booked out for like the year. Like it is, they keep they keep the hall booked out. I mean, like it's constant, it's just a constant every weekend thing, and they never have availability. And I just, at this point, it's still profitable in that, I mean, not profitable, it's a non-profit, but you know what I mean? Like it's still paying the bills because of the space gets rented out every weekend. So there's a lot of
Okay.
us that feel like it needs to be updated though.
I can help with Wi-Fi.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jen, since we're in the update section, there's 2 updates that I
Well,
got.
actually,
I got some
oh,
information.
hold on. I don't know that we left the annual meeting review. We bird walked off on the Grange table.
Sorry.
And we never
Sorry.
really quite
Oh, okay,
finished. No,
sorry.
don't be sorry. It was worth
I
it.
have 2
but-
2 updates I'd like to share with the group towards the end of the meeting.
Okay, got it.
So are there
So-
any other community groups or organizations that we would want to have that or offer them a table at the next year's event? I'm thinking maybe we could have someone from Parks again, just because they're likely going to be closer to construction for Pipeline, Canyon Road. We can maybe have somebody specifically for Canyon Road from Pierce County Roads. Is there any other
Max
non-county entities that we'd want to offer some space to?
Max Meats.
Yeah.
Blue Max.
Yes.
That's
Bring
good.
Someone
samples
from the farm.
Oh, from the
Marinos.
farm. Yeah. What?
Franklin Pierce.
Yeah. Franklin Pierce Farm.
Yeah, that
Or
would
the
be-
school
that would-
district in general, or both school districts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was even thinking maybe like PTO, maybe like a PTO representation, or PTA. It's Waller Road is PTO, but maybe like a PTA situation.
Okay.
I'm sure John, the principal at Waller Road, would come. He's all about it. So
Cool.
he's really community
Okay.
minded.
I have
so.
contact. I've had contact with the farm manager, Emily Strong, actually today. So, yeah, I'm sure she would be willing probably to have a table.
Okay,
I don't know,
so
but
I wrote
I can
this
ask.
down and we can revise it again. I mean, things will come up and to all of us in the 3 a.m. Oh, why didn't I think of that one during our meeting? So, we can keep adding to this list for the next year as things and people
Yeah.
come up and make connections and whatnot.
Cool.
Was there anything that we would do differently next year, or do we learn anything?
Advertise. I think we would
Yes.
advertise it
Much earlier, yeah.
I think that we would. I think I could put together a communication plan for us about timing and what all needs
And
to
our
happen.
signs. We'd like to get the
Yes,
signs redone.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
All those things. I'd be happy to help with that. So
Signs are on my list.
Yeah.
Along with the t-shirts.
t-shirts.
All right.
Dawn, you are going to wear a t-shirt, right?
We just want Dawn to come next year.
You'll wear a flannel over the t-shirt.
He's a silent supporter. That's fine.
actually liked having the cake. That was good. Too bad we're not celebrating our birthday every year.
We can have cake. I don't think there's any reason why we can't have cake.
We could have
Like,
we could have
I think-
31 on our cake next year.
All right.
Yeah, I think there's no reason why we can't provide refreshments. I think it's people like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And on my behest, I was in Southern California the night of the big meeting.
Oh, just kidding.
Were you surfing?
No, I was walking the dog on the beach.
Oh, you were in
Nice.
Huntington then.
Nice.
I'm
hard
sure
life.
Pearl appreciated that.
Indeed.
I think the only thing that I would say, I thought it went really well for the most part. I was really happy with it. I think the only thing I would say is that two things maybe. One is maybe we have Barbara is really great behind the table, and maybe we leave that to her. Or is it Candace? Is that Russell's daughter? And some of us get out from behind the table and walk around and chat a little bit more, because there were a lot of people sitting there just waiting for the meeting to start during social hour, but they weren't socializing, and you really had to make an effort to go up to them and learn who they were and how they got there and that sort of thing. And some of us got stuck behind the table socializing. So I think it'd be maybe nice if we could have a couple of volunteers who aren't board members run the tables and the sign-in sheets and all that, and then the rest of us are circulating. And then the other thing is that the David Davis, is that his name? He was wonderful, but he went really long. So maybe we ask our guests just to give them a timeline, like 20 minutes, or just so they can practice and pare it down a little bit.
I did give him a timeline, but yeah,
When the
he
questions opened up, it went much longer.
yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
That is true.
So his presentation, I mean, we went through it beforehand, and I was
So
like,
maybe we
okay,
need-
if you can just quickly, he was like, I'll just talk quickly about these things. I'm like, perfect, that's fine. Some pictures, some text, talk about the points, and then, but yeah, there were a lot of questions. So
So maybe we need a timekeeper, somebody who can really keep us
Mhm.
moving next year,
Okay.
because it went
If someone
a
MC it,
tiny bit longer than I thought it would. So I'll write down timekeeper. All right. Is there anything else that I could write down for next year?
no, nice
can
job,
always add to the
nice job,
list.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did. We pulled it off, and people actually showed up despite the fact that we were worried about that. There were a lot more than the previous year. So
yeah, there was a good turnout, and I have to thank Megan for that. I think she did a great
Yes,
job with the limited
yes.
time to push.
what
Yep.
did you call her? The release the Megan.
Yeah.
The Kraken.
Release the
Kraken.
Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just mentioned a little while ago that I was asking, so B, Waller Road Curve Vickery Corridor, that I have that in an email to Marty. So that goes to C, Canyon Rim Estate Stand. Did you have anything there?
Okay, as you know, we prevailed in the Superior Court action in Pierce County. The Superior Court judge remanded it back to the hearing examiner. The hearing examiner sat on it for a year, which is unheard of. I've never seen that. And so then we said, well, why don't you issue the decision? So the examiner, then a couple days later, the decision is issued. And he basically parrots back the original examiner decision, which was incorrect. So we've appealed it to Thurston County Superior Court, and we have a hearing coming up later this month, to set a schedule for the actual trial. We won before the Pierce County Superior Court. I don't want to go back there again. So we're going to Thurston County primarily because the state law that I'm dealing with was hammered out in Thurston County. So they should be very aware of. In fact, it's called the Thurston County decision. It's out of Thurston County. But I give it a 50-50. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm going to give it my best shot. 50-50. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Good
Thanks
luck.
for all you've done, Dan, on
Thanks
that
for
issue.
everything.
Really appreciate the help you've been put in on this
Yeah.
one.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of wish I would have just minded my own business. I mean, during the original hearing before the Pierce County Superior Court, we had a lot of help. We had Robert Corris. He lived down there. He was on the board, and he was kind of like a spark plug who activated the people down there. He is no longer on the board, no longer lives out here, to my understanding. And so it's not as much community involvement. There's still concern, mind you, but not like it was before. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you. Okay, I put encouraging more adopter roads because I don't know. We're cleaning up Waller twice a year, but Vickery's a disaster. There's not a lot of signs saying Vickery's taken, so I have it on there, but just something to think about, Megan. I'm thinking of you because you think of people. So if you,
Yeah, I know the Lidford Neighborhood Watch was talking about wanting to do 44th. Like we were trying. I mean, we don't know what the process is, but I know that I don't know, whatever, our coordinator, my friend Erin, I know that she was interested in looking to do something, because we've been doing Lidford Park cleanup, and that's something we were just like, oh, we could expand to 44th and do some cleanup along 44th. So I definitely think, yes, we could find. So Vickery, is that what you're looking for, somebody along Vickery?
Oh no, any area that needs cleaning up that
Oh
people
no,
might
I'm just thinking. I know the people who do the cheer, the little Viking cheer things. I know the couple of moms that are the leaders in that group. I think that would be a great project for them to do, and they live over there. So I think that's something I could definitely bring up with them and talk to them about, because I think it would be an advertisement for them. You know what I mean? To have their name on a sign that they've adopted the road. So I think that's I will bring that to someone's attention. So.
Okay.
Good.
So it's basically planting seeds right now and seeing where they sprout. Let's see if we can get some more adopter roads in our area to keep it cleaned up. So it's certainly a challenge.
Yeah, I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea at all. I just want to. The reality is, if we only got 2/3 of the road cleaned up, which is one road, if we water it down to 2 or 3 or 4. We're not going to get any of it done because everyone's just going to stick to the road that they're on, and it might get more people though, because they'll actually just clean up more local to them, rather than, oh, I don't ever use Waller Road. What do I care?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's kind of the thought, is like getting the people that are in the community, because the people who live along here are going to be concerned about 44th, much like people who live on Waller are concerned about Waller. So I just think that's I think that's the thought.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I can find an organization to adopt a road, then that becomes a service project for the organization, and that hopefully will be a thing. So yeah, I'll talk. I mean, I'll push that around. I know Lidford's already talking. The Lidford Neighborhood Watch is talking about doing 44th. I just don't know how to do it. So I would just need somebody to tell me how to do it.
Maybe the Grange might want to do it too.
Point me in the right
somewhere.
direction.
Maybe
the
John
Grange
and Sue might be helpful because they are the ones who got ours started.
The whole thing is designed a lot differently than we do it. It's designed to have a group or an organization, everybody vest up and helmet up and walk down between the big safety signs and move along a stretch of road or that way, rather than us shotgunning. We're kind of on the edge of, people are out there kind of in danger. They're on their own without a sign, so there's a lot of thought that has to go into, definitely designed for a group or an organization rather than this loose-knit thing that we do. So
but again, like if Waller Road the Grange could easily get involved in the Waller Road cleanup for sure. I mean,
sure, yeah.
Well, just on 64th, they're outside the Grange. It's a mess frequently.
I was just gonna say 64th Street up to the city limits.
Yeah.
Somebody's
Careful.
starting to dump again there.
So we might want to help
Okay.
the green to start one on 64th.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay, I will
Again,
I'll put some feelers out and see what I can get moving. So
well, we all can. Anyone, if it comes up and somebody, if it comes up during the year somehow, and we
Mhm.
can just kind of spread the word that we're looking to get small groups cleaning up our neighborhood more consistently, whether it's a formal adopt a road program or informal, just doing it on your own, just whatever it takes. I just thought I'd throw that out there as something we can probably improve upon. Oh, okay. League of Women Voters wants to host a candidate forum at the beginning of July, which would require talking to Bunny. But how do we feel about this? And do we want to host it?
When did they want to host it, Jen?
Let me get the email out.
Did
I
they?
know it was the
Did they?
first. Yeah, they gave a date. I want to say it's July 10th through 20th.
Who are the candidates? Do you know?
I don't even know who's filed yet. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
early for a candidate forum in
Yeah.
a
I think
really
they're looking.
bad time of year to try to get people in a meeting in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
But
I thought that was interesting too.
because the last
is it
time
the
we
school board?
I think it's school board.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Oh.
There's
There's some issues.
do
yeah,
they vote?
there's
Do they vote before November then? Is that why they're doing it early?
they don't, but there's a bunch of candidates this year. Like it's kind of
Good.
ridiculous. There's a bunch of candidates this year. So
Oh, mm.
yeah. That's probably why. I know some of the people that are involved in a couple of the candidates, and I think that's probably what's driving it. So
Mm.
anyway, all that to say, I don't know why July. I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense to me either. That seems early and
Pretty short
yeah,
notice
like
too.
well, they're not going to get a lot. They're just not going to get a lot of people because it's summertime. So
Comment on that.
Yeah.
Just a comment. If we're gonna host this thing with our name on it, and I'm just assuming that it's a bad time, not too many people are gonna show up, it may be kind of embarrassing to our community that we host something and nobody shows up. I mean, or maybe a whole bunch of people would show up. There's a lot of interest these days in school board positions, for example.
Well, I think last time we did this, we weren't the only sponsors. It was Midland Community Association,
Okay.
Summit
okay.
Waller, and North
Clover Creek.
Clover Creek
Clover Creek
Collins.
Collins.
Yes, it was all three of us. So we had all three of those logos plus League of Women Voters on it, and that was it. I mean, and then we kicked it off with a, "Hey, welcome, appreciate you being here. Here's some ground rules," and then we turned it over to the League of Women Voters folks, and they basically ran it.
Yeah, yeah.
I got stuck being the timekeeper, but that was it. So
what was the time frame, Jen, that they were asking for? Like when do they want to do it?
The beginning, I think it was between the 10th and the 20th of July. And
Wow.
because it says that mid to late forums are being held in mid to late July. Around that time, voters receive their ballots for the August 1st primary election.
it's August.
Because there's so many people on the ballot, they're having to have a primary for the school board. That actually makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is that Franklin Pierce School District School Board race?
It's Puyallup that I know about. I don't know about. I'm sure it might be Franklin Pierce too, but
Okay, so this is the basically the Puyallup School Board.
did
What does
they
the
say?
letter, what does the letter say?
I'm getting it.
Basically, I would say if there's four organizations running it along with the League of Women Voters, I would say do it.
Why can't I find things quickly when I want to find them quickly?
Midland would not be interested if it's just a Puyallup School Board race because they're not in the Puyallup School District. Neither is North Clover Creek Collins either. They're Franklin Pierce School District.
Is Franklin Pierce involved in this at all?
Okay. Okay, series of primary election candidate forums for the public, including the positions of mayor, city council members for many municipalities, school board members, and board members for local park districts. Forums will be held mid to late July, around the time that voters receive their ballots for the August 1st primary election. Why does it say this year's forum? Wait, this year's forums will be conducted virtually because...
Oh, virtually.
Virtually. I thought they wanted in person.
Oh.
Conducted virtually because the forums, which are recorded on Zoom, can be viewed by voters on demand. We hope your organization will consider co-sponsoring these virtual events.
I think they just
Okay,
need
so
us
they
to
just want
put
our
the word
name.
out.
Yeah, they probably just
want
want,
our name.
and they want us to help us spread the word. Sure. That's,
I make a motion that we support it and approve a virtual, the Zoom, and that we be a participant.
They would also appreciate any question topics which we could suggest to aid in developing questions to put to the candidates if we have them. I'd like a
Yeah.
little bit more specific information. I can't formulate questions for people if well, I guess it would be up to me to go look to see who all the candidates are, like I have all the time to do that right now. All right, well.
Yeah, if it's virtual, they want to know what our name basically, and I think we can support that.
Is that a second?
Is that a second?
Is that a second, Larry?
Oh yeah, second. I second.
Oh,
Yeah,
If
second.
Larry doesn't, I do.
Well, who wants that second? Larry, do you want it or you want to give it to Megan?
Megan,
All right.
ladies.
Oh,
I don't
thank
want to
you.
leave poor John
I
there
don't know that I
confused.
would describe myself that way, but thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we host a candidate forum sometime in July. More information coming when we give them an answer, I guess. And apparently
think
it's
that would be-
virtual. We lend our name. We maybe give a few questions. I have, can we vote on this?
Call for the question.
It's a co-host.
Co-host. Yes. Okay, all in favor. I see Dan's, Angela's, Megan's, Gabe's, John, Larry. That's five.
John said yes.
I knew you were gonna say no, Dawn. That's why I'm counting hands. I already knew that. Well, is John a yay or a nay?
He's a nay.
John's in.
Oh, John's in.
John's in.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You keep switching around. I'm trying to count pictures and then the pictures move. Okay. Everyone's in favor except for Dawn. So
Yes.
motion passes.
correct.
I was going to abstain, but I made the motion.
Oh, you cannot
Yeah.
abstain. Oh my gosh.
Motion and then decline. Oh man.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next is Larry. Larry has two things that he would like to
Yeah, very
talk
very
about.
quickly. Yeah, you may have noticed, or maybe not noticed, that the portables at the farm have been demolished, and the caretaker house is being considered for demolition as well. In its place will go a single story, about a $7 million natural science STEM building, which the Summit Waller Community Association initially asked for several years ago. As you may or may not recall, in the Franklin Pierce School District's last board bond issue, when they selected what would be on the bond issue, the natural science STEM building would just fell just below the line, and it would be the next promised project to work on. The Franklin Pierce School District was able to get monies from the state and also some other grants, STEM grants. And so that is what is going to replace that. I think initially the design was for 2 stories, but it's going to be single story. It'll have a classroom, lab, kitchen, a room for offices, and also I think a community room. I'll get more specifics on that later. The other thing about the farm, that when Sly Boscovich retired, the idea of Jim Acres seems to have died with it. Because I asked Emily Strong, where's the signage for Jim Acres acre out there? Where's the acre that's designated for Jim Acres? She didn't have any idea about a Jim Acres or a Jim Acres acre. So she's going to want some more information on that. And I will work on that. Because we don't want to see the efforts of Jim Acres kind of disappear or evaporate. We want signage, we want an acre designated, and we want to know with signage where that acre is on the farm. The other thing is the old gas station across the street. It had been a nuisance property. You may or may not notice it's also been demoed. And the reason why is that it was recently sold to the family that lives just to the south of that location. And so that they're going to keep the garage, but the building itself, the old gas station hardware store from years and years and years ago, has been demolished. And I guess that will just be open. When they widen Waller Road, apparently part of the front part of the building is now on Pierce County right away. So the county insisted that at least the front part of the building be taken down. The new owners decided just to demo the whole thing. So, but the garage will stay. So you might keep an eye on that site. It's not going to be a nuisance property, I don't think, anymore. I think the people to the south who bought it are much more responsible than the people who owned it previously. So that's where that is. Those are the 2 updates I thought I'd share with you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Well, I don't see that the gas station
There
is under
one more thing. There's one more thing. In talking with Emily Strong, Franklin Pierce School District and the people who work at the farm are very concerned about the number of accidents at the intersection of 96th and Waller. At least once a month, sometimes twice a month, they're running out there to the intersection, trying to help people who've been in an accident as they're calling 911. They would like to see something done with that intersection. I suggested that they talk with Marty Campbell in his office. I said you should push for a traffic signal light there. Emily suggested a 4-way stop, and I said that's not going to happen. It's not even on the table for a 4-way stop. But maybe additional lighting. I think they're going to push for some sort of a traffic signal be installed there. So
All right,
that's an issue. That's
I'll
an
bring
issue
that
that's
up.
with the Franklin School.
When I write Marty, I will put that into the letter that is.
Tell them that they're real concerned about the number of accidents at that intersection, that they'd like to see eventually a traffic.
And what's
signal.
Emily Strong's position?
She is the farm manager,
Okay.
and her phone number is 253-278-4025. And during the week, whenever I call her, she answers the phone right away. And her email address is estrong
at
at Frank,
fp
at
schools.org.
fpschools.org. Yeah,
Yeah, I got that one down.
yeah, me too.
That's because my email is jbosworth at fpschools.org. That's
Okay,
the only reason
all right.
I know.
And that's who Marty should contact, and she might have him contact somebody else higher up as well.
All right. Is there anything left to discuss this evening? Well then, do I have a motion to close our meeting at 8:30 this evening?
I was muted. Yeah, I moved to adjourn.
Okay, it looked like Angela was seconding there with her thumbs up. Is that true?
Yes.
All right. All in favor of adjourning this evening?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any
right.
opposed?
Abstain.
No, Dan.
I knew it. I knew there'd be somebody.
Dan
Is it
can
you?
hang out and by himself in his